This week on the County Line, we give you some Christmas tree safety tips.
And explore what a local store is doing to celebrate the holiday season. The County Line starts now.
Good evening and welcome to the County Line. I'm Brittany Grego.
And I'm Drew Trifolis.
On Wilmington Road in Newcastle sits a business that has stood for nearly 30 years and is a source of great happiness for both the owner and visitors. It's the ideal place for anyone with a hobby. The County Line's Forrest Mintier takes us to the Underground Railroad.
There exists a place in Newcastle, a place full of magic. A collection that includes monsters, roller coasters, and memories. But this is no movie set or fairy tale. This is the Underground Railroad, and it is a living dream of Lou Palumbo.
In 1985, I bought this shop, the Underground Railroad, and started to make this layout, which has been in process, a work in process for about 25 years. We've been working on this, and here we are on our 26th Christmas at the Underground Railroad, and I find it to be very fulfilling, and I see many fellas and people like me that were collecting buy trains from me and are doing this in their homes.
Lou says that the design for the layout comes entirely from imagination and features many themes.
And there is no blueprint. It started as a plain board, and we started putting things on, laid the track one layout at a time, and right now there's 16 trains running at one time, and every part of this board has been changed at least 2 times. Now you can hardly put, I don't think you can put a 4x6 card down on this table without hitting something.
Lou has many creations, and when faced with picking a favorite, he finds it to be too much to ask.
But my favorite thing would be the last thing I would take off of here. You did put me on the spot. I don't want to say it in front of them. So I'm going to reserve not answering that. It's all my favorite. You hear me?
And so, any time of year, you can visit a place built on dreams. The Underground Railroad is located on Wilmington Road. The store is open every day, and the village can be viewed on evenings and on weekends. I'm Forrest Mintier for the County Line.
Cranex, the store for all seasons in Sharon, PA, is home to a 300-foot-long Christmas tree display. Santa's Christmas Land 2010 is now open. Customers can walk through an avenue of lights and sounds associated with the Christmas season, along with seeing many Christmas trees that are decorated and themed differently. Visiting the display is free, and all of the decorations used are for sale throughout the store.
Christmas trees can pose many dangers if they are not taken care of properly. According to the U.S. Fire Administration, Christmas trees account for 250 fires every year. Avoid becoming a statistic by remembering this saying: a wet tree is a safe tree. Fires usually start due to shorts in electrical lights, candles, lighters, or matches. The USFA says it can take less than 5 seconds for a tree to become completely engulfed by flames. And it only takes 40 seconds before the surrounding carpet and furniture catch on fire. To avoid any accidents this holiday season, be sure to keep the bowl under your tree filled with plenty of water.
The Christmas tree is one of the oldest traditions of the holiday season. Lawrence County is home to Rogers Pine Hills Farms, a 71-year-old cut-your-own-tree farm located off of Eastbrook Harlenburg Road. Visitors can walk the fields and cut down a tree or choose from pre-cut choices available. The farm is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. 7 days a week and is open until Christmas Eve.
Now that the fall season is over and McConnell's Mill State Park will close for the winter, they will still allow hunting on their property. Many of the acres at the mill are open for hunting, trapping, and dog training. Common game on the grounds include deer, rabbit, turkey, and even squirrel. For more information, log on to www.dcnr.state.pa.us.
Coming up on the County Line, we explore a local meditation center.
And go back in time to learn the history behind an ancient Egyptian mummy.
Need some help getting into the holiday spirit without those boring commercials? Titan Radio can help.
We're here to help you ring in the holidays. This holiday season, Titan Radio is all Christmas all the time. Tune in for your holiday favorites without commercials all day, every day. The best selection of holiday music, always commercial-free.
Interested in yoga, dance, ballroom, or theater classes? The Walnut Lodge in downtown New Wilmington offers classes in each of those areas. The County Line's Marshall Capelli takes us inside the Yoga and Movement Center.
That exhale, pulling up the belly.
Over on the corner of Market Street in Neshannock is a one-of-a-kind place called the Walnut Lodge Yoga and Movement Center. I was able to go over and see what the Walnut Lodge was all about and where founder Abby Alter got started here in New Wilmington.
And this started because she found that this building was open and really thought that the people in this area could really use this as a service and as really a health practice. And people are slowly but surely beginning to discover what we do. First of all, it's so beautiful. I mean, right here on the square, this building is really interesting because we have the dance and yoga studio in the back. This space in the front was kind of really an experiment to see, hey, maybe we can give people a place that they can come into and really look at some nice artwork and purchase it if they want.
That's right, the Walnut Lodge has tons to offer.
We range all the way from essential. There's a yoga basic. We have yoga 1 class. We have Ashtanga. We also offer meditation for people that want to come for an hour and do a college express class. Program for people that are 60 years and older. There are dance classes here. We've got ballet for the little ones. So have a creative movement class. We have a children's yoga class. We also have family yoga and yoga flow on Saturday. So there's really a lot of offerings. Here, inhale and lift.
Yep, I got interested and had to try yoga myself.
Inhale, lift. Too much studying, shoulders back. There we go. Inhale, lift into the hands.
I had to admit it was hard at first, but I picked it up quick.
Left and right over the spine. I love teaching here. And then hearing the horses clip-clop up the road and then folks come back down. Everyone is friendly here. The college is right around the corner. And really there's no other place around here that's doing what we're doing, which is basically down-to-earth, accessible yoga health practice for people, just to help. Lift the chest up and arch.
If you're looking for more information, you can call the Walnut Lodge at 724-346-4746, or you can go online at walnutstlodge.com. I'm Marshall Capelli for the County Line.
And on exhale.
Westminster College is home to over 1,800 artifacts from around the world. One of the artifacts has lived on campus ever since the 1800s, and most students don't even know it's here. I sat down with Westminster's curator of cultural artifacts to learn the history behind this ancient treasure and its foreseeable future. Located in Westminster's Hoyt Science Resource Center, there lies a 2,300-year-old mummy named Pessid. Curator of Cultural Artifacts Dr. Sam Farmery explains how she arrived in New Wilmington, Pennsylvania.
The mummy was purchased by a missionary in Egypt in 1886. I like to tell people that the Egyptian government was having a garage sale. And the equivalent, that's what they were doing. They were selling off their antiquities to support a war effort. So a group of missionaries thought mummies would be great things for their colleges to have.
1871 Westminster grad Reverend John Giffen was working as a missionary in Egypt and ended up purchasing 4 mummies. One of the mummies stayed in Egypt, while the other 3 were sent to the States on a boat in the hands of J.R. Alexander.
They got to Liverpool, England, and they had to change ships. And the mummy was put on this new ship, and after they got to sea, the purser decided that the mummy was not baggage, it was cargo. Therefore, there was a fee, a $5 fee to ship the mummy home. Now, $5, today that's what, spit in the ocean. That's hardly a cup of coffee. But back then, $5 was a lot of money. And the guy who was shepherding these 3 mummies home did not have $15 to pay the fee. He was probably afraid that they'd be tossed overboard. At any rate, he and his wife literally went around the boat, hat in hand, trying to get enough money to pay for the fee.
One mummy ended up in South Carolina, the other went to Worcester College, and Pessid came here to Westminster. Dr. Farmery also knows all about Pessid's life, but how is that possible?
X-rays, CT scanning, and simply reading the glyphs around the edge of the coffin. Now, what do we know? Well, we verified her gender. There's evidence of pelvic trauma, which implies childbirth, so she had at least one child. Osteoarthritis, scoliosis, which is curvature of the spine, huge abscesses in her jaws.
At her time of death, she was believed to have been 65 to 70 years old and lived around 250 to 300 BC. She used to be housed in Mack Library, which is inside of Hoyt, but since its merger with McGill Library, it is now an empty space. So what will happen to Pessid?
There's a small alcove outside the old rear entrance to the Mack Library.
Dr. Farmery says he wishes they built a museum on campus.
And to have it squirreled away someplace where hardly anybody ever sees it, where very few people walk by it, I don't see that we're accomplishing much at all with it.
In New Wilmington, I'm Brittany Grego for the County Line.
Stay tuned to the County Line as one of our reporters discovers how a local church gets its name out.
This and Titantown Sports is on the way.
The liberal arts work at Westminster College. Westminster graduates have a 96% placement rate. They have developed the skills needed to succeed in any field. That's what makes the liberal arts so powerful and flexible. Experience success the Westminster way.
Need some help getting into the holiday spirit without those boring commercials? Titan Radio can help.
We're here to help you ring in the holidays. This holiday season, Titan Radio is all Christmas all the time. Tune in for your holiday favorites without commercials all day, every day. The best selection of holiday music, always commercial-free.
New Life Baptist Church grew from a 58-member congregation in 1992 to having nearly 3,000 people today. The church continues to grow and plays a significant role in the community. The County Line's Matt Paris-Luca discovers the secret to the success.
Also, I made an announcement in the first service that we're looking together to put a mission team together to go down to Nashville with Samaritan's Purse to do some rebuilding. It is the first time that I've announced this. We have one slot left. So if you'd like to be involved and go down, it's one of our most reasonable costs.
Pastor John Bailey founded New Life Baptist Church in 1992. Pastor John moved here with his wife and 3 daughters from Connecticut, working with Youngstown Baptist Church for the sole purpose of planting a church in this area. The church moved buildings several times until finally constructing its own building on 208, where it resides today. Pastor John explains the goals of the church when they first decided to plant one in this region.
Our goal starting the church would be that we would bring a Bible-based, family-oriented, purpose-driven ministry, meaning that with the ministry that's built on the purposes that Jesus gives to the church of worship, evangelism, fellowship, discipleship, and we would take those things and everything we did would function around those things. Then beyond that, we wanted to do it in a way that would be understandable and accessible to a current generation, so that we would be theologically conservative, holding to what we believed, really through the ages, but that we, in our methodology, we could be more progressive and do it in such a way that connects with and meets the needs of people today.
Since its founding, the church sure has found a way to connect. In a town of 1,500, the church has an active participation of about 2,900 people. Pastor John describes how New Life helps the local community.
We do things in the nature of helping people with food, with housing, with clothing. We provide Celebrate Recovery Ministries to help people with addiction issues. We provide community services like divorce care, where we help people through the difficulties of divorce, grief care, where we help people that have lost loved ones in that way. And most, if not all, of our ministry events are not only open to the public, but we are continually inviting others to come in.
New Life Baptist Church has certainly made an impact on the community in its almost 2 decades. And based on how things are going, it doesn't look to be leaving anytime soon.
Who the newest employee at the Newcastle Public Library is? I'll bet you'll be surprised to learn they walk on 4 legs instead of only 2. That's right, the newest face at the library is Stax the library cat. The County Line's Bradford Eric traveled to the library to investigate a little more about this friendly feline. We show you how this friendly cat came to have a new home at the library. Let's take a closer look at the story behind Stax the library cat.
So you're in search of a book, maybe the latest DVD, today's newspaper, or maybe you want to use the internet. You walk through the double sliding glass doors of the Newcastle Public Library, and you're greeted by a friendly furry face? That's right, Stax the library cat is the newest employee at the Newcastle Public Library. His position? Greeter.
This is Stax, and his humble home is the Newcastle Public Library. Stax is quite loved by many.
Everybody loves them when they come in. Everybody sees them and they smile. They say, "You have a library cat," and they smile and they laugh. And
recently, Stax found his way to the library and refused to leave.
He walked through the doors one August. Yeah, he walked in. We put him back outside. He just kept walking back in. So just figured he wanted to stay here.
He makes working at the library very interesting, and he even has his own daily schedule and job.
During the day, when we first open up, he runs around. He mainly stays down here on the first floor. He has a run of the first floor down here. And then in the afternoon, he kind of takes his break. But he likes it when the kids come in for story time. He knows. He goes over there. He waits by the stairs for them to come in and see him. And just he goes over and he greets people. So that's mainly what he does. He walks around. He likes to sit on the windowsills. Likes to go out and play by our Christmas tree. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Stax's name came easy to the employees, as he was always found among the books. Many patrons of the library enjoy having the furry feline around.
And I think it's a good idea to have that little cat here. That's my opinion. Because I love animals.
So if you're looking for a cozy place to read and relax, or a new friend, head to the Newcastle Public Library. I'm Bradford Eric, reporting for the County Line.
Coming up next on the County Line, all your latest sports action in Titantown sports.
And later, we look at what productions the Newcastle Playhouse has in store for next year.
You can make a difference at Westminster College. Westminster has earned the nation's highest honor for community service for 3 straight years. Classroom lessons are put into action to benefit the community. Experience service the Westminster way. Westminster was founded in 1852 as one of the nation's earliest coeducational colleges. Our timeless mission of developing individuals intellectually, spiritually, and socially has helped Westminster become one of the country's top liberal arts colleges. Experience tradition the Westminster way.
Week after week, Titantown Sports brings you the most up-to-date sports news in our area. Today we are going to show you one of the people behind the scenes at the biggest and most prestigious sports information channel in the world. Denny Wolf, a 1997 Westminster grad, is now a feature producer for ESPN in Bristol, Connecticut, and is one of our most famous alums.
What sports have I covered? I have pretty much run the gamut of sports. I've done NFL football, college basketball, pro basketball, Major League Baseball, NHL hockey, college hockey, golf, tennis, horse racing, pretty much everything there is. And, you gotta learn to be able to do everything when you do sports broadcasting.
Denny says that landing a job in the world of broadcasting, you have to be able to do everything. However, there is a lot of fun things along the way. Over his career with ESPN, Denny has met many famous people, including Michael Irvin, who he met at the Pro Bowl, the former wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys.
I've had the most fun covering pro football and NHL hockey. I did feature stories for Sunday NFL Countdown for several years. 1 year I was a part of the crew that won the Emmy for Best Weekly Sports Show. And I love doing that because football is a huge passion. A lot of it started here at Westminster when, I was busy covering football games every Saturday with the Titans and, covering high school football. So that was one thing I really, really enjoyed, that I could continue doing that. And the college game was a little more difficult because there was such turnover. But in the pro game, there's more consistency. You get to know who the stars are. In the NHL, hockey is obviously one of my favorite sports. And I've gotten to work with Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux, both. Interesting stories with both of those is that Wayne Gretzky was a part of a Make-A-Wish feature with a kid. And at the end, we had basically compressed everything into a 3-hour window where we did the whole wish. And at the end, Wayne was shaking everyone's hand in the crew, and he looks at me and says, "Hey, I hope everything turned out great. You guys are awesome to work with. You helped us out, but you did your stuff, but you weren't in the way." And it's like, I really, really had a good time, so thank you. And he's talking to me like I'm a normal guy, and in my head, I'm still a 9-year-old boy going like, "Oh my God, this is Wayne Gretzky just talking to me."
Denny's had the opportunity in his career to meet many famous athletes, including LaDainian Tomlinson and Jerome Bettis, some of his favorite interviews. He's also had the opportunity to attend the Super Bowl, shown here in Dolphin Stadium last year when the Colts squared off against the Saints.
One of them would be LaDainian Tomlinson. I've worked with him a couple different times for features, and I worked with him when he was in San Diego, and the most memorable one was when he had just broken the single-season touchdown record, and that week I went out with Michael Irvin, who was one of our reporters at the time, for a Sunday NFL Countdown, and we did a story on him, just watching tape of great running backs like Walter Payton, Jim Brown, Emmitt Smith, and having he and Michael talk about that, and got a picture of him afterwards, which was with him afterwards, the interviews. So there I was with Michael Irvin, who was a great receiver, and LaDainian Tomlinson, 5 days after he had set this record, and he's just as common and as regular of a guy as you could ever imagine.
While he does have a stressful job, Denny finds time to come back to Westminster to talk to broadcasting students of today, and he can share stories with them about the many crazy people he's met over his career at ESPN.
There's so many crazy people. It's just there's so many. Jerome Bettis was always a great interview, and he was always fun to work with, just because he was just always such a good quote. Jacques Demers, who was a hockey coach who was illiterate and hid it for many, many years, was just interesting, because here was a guy who's now a senator in Canadian politics, but he had won a Stanley Cup and hid the fact that he couldn't read from many, many people. And actually, as far as athletes go, I did a story on cutting down the nets, the history of cutting down the nets in college basketball, which was unique because it was an enterprise story, and that one I'm probably one of the most proud of, and that's one of the first features I ever got to do.
As you can see, Denny Wolf is obviously the picture of what all broadcasting students at Westminster strive to be. He has an amazing job, has already had numerous memorable moments with famous sports figures, both of the past and of today. Denny shows us that anyone who works hard and puts in the time can find great opportunities wherever their hearts desire.
It's that time of year again, Christmas, and Titan Radio's gift to you is 24-hour Christmas music all through the holiday season.
Just tune your radio to 88.9 FM for commercial-free Christmas music, any time of the day or night, or online at TitanRadio.net.
On Lawrence County's choice for commercial-free music, Titan Radio, and streaming live on the web at TitanRadio.net.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Hi, I'm Dan McDevitt, a father, a husband, Army retiree, and a student at Westminster College. It was nice finding a college so close to home with high academics was going to put me in the job market right after graduation. If I was to tell another adult student why to come to Westminster, I'd tell them for the academics, the one-on-one personalization they'll get with their instructor, the small classroom experience. I know what this college secured for me. My kids are supportive of me going back to college. When I get good grades, they're all happy. They're like, way to go, Dad.
Titan Radio is a cornerstone of Westminster College's broadcast department. Faith is another element of the Westminster Way. The two come together every week on WWNW-FM. Although popular for its commercial-free music, Titan Radio mixes up the bag on Sundays, where it hosts a slew of Christian-based programs. The County Line's Matt Paris-Luca takes an inside look at the workings of the covenant.
Titan Radio is Westminster College's student-run commercial-free radio station, found on 88.9 FM. Although it's a very popular station in Lawrence County, Titan Radio is a program that plays every Sunday night that many people aren't even aware of.
Titan Radio, you're listening to Jeff and Josh. Right now you're listening to Lead Me by Sanctus Real on Titan Radio's The Covenant.
The Covenant is Westminster's Christian radio show that airs from 8 p.m. to midnight every Sunday night. The 4-hour show is broken down into two 2-hour shows, each hosted by a pair of DJs. Mackenzie Somerville and myself DJ the 8 to 10 shift, while producer Jeff Hauser and Josh Masters handle the 10 to 12 shift. The Covenant may air on Titan Radio, but it is completely unique from the traditional pop music played during the station's regular program. The DJs as well have a much different task than just introducing the next song to play. Masters explains his role on Titan Radio.
I guess I'm just pretty much a hired hand. I'm just a voice on the radio. So, but other than that, I see it as a ministry too for myself. Like, I bring depth and diversity to the show, and just a little more, like, someone to chit chat with Jeff, and to help the show, go along more smoothly.
While Masters focuses on the ministry involved with Covenant, his partner Jeff Hauser has the responsibility of deciding what music to play and how to draw the line between traditional worship music and more contemporary Christian music.
My view on Covenant as it's a kind of best of both worlds kind of thing, where yes, you want to focus on the campus, but you also want to focus on the community too, because Chapel Office is campus, but Titan Radio is community, so you kind of have to do both. There's no option to do either or. So you get music selection that is not only what's being sung in churches or played on national radio, you also get stuff that's more of the college scene, like more, we have some faster paced songs.
The Covenant DJ's connection to the songs they play lies much deeper than most connections a typical DJ would have with the tunes they air. Masters explains his motivation for being a Covenant DJ.
The show's a great way to get out. I mean, it broadcasts, the whole, Lawrence County, Mercer County area, plus the campus. So, I mean, if there's any listeners, I mean, I know we have listeners out there, but, even if there's only just one listener, I mean, if we can get our voice out just to one person, just to change their heart, it'd be worth it for me. It'd be totally worth it for me.
So the next time you're experiencing a musicless Sunday night, tune into 88.9 FM to enjoy some great Christian music. You can also learn more about the Covenant on its Facebook page. For the County Line, I'm Matt Paris-Luca.
Westminster College's radio station, Titan Radio, is best known for its commercial-free adult contemporary hits. But during the holiday season, they switch up the format completely to play all your favorite Christmas carols. Titan Radio will spread holiday cheer in Lawrence County until December 26th. If you have any songs you would like to hear played, visit Titan Radio's Facebook page to leave a message.
Well, that's the news for tonight's edition of the final edition of the County Line. Be sure to check WCN.com for all your local campus and community updates over the break.
And we'll see you next year for more episodes of the County Line, as well as all the sports action in Titantown Sports. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.